Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Coach Jason. Hope you're doing well. So, I want to talk about a kind of an extension of training. I've gone over videos, everything from training for the 800 meters all the way up to the marathon, and a lot of the things in between: long run, increasing volume, threshold training, tempos, how to get fast by slowing down, fully detailed training programs, and so on and so forth. But I want to start diving into a little bit of the details to give you a little bit more specificity, so you have a better understanding of some of the more important pieces of training. And I do speak from 20 plus years experience as a former competitor and a current coach. And I've coached at the high school, college, and post-collegiate level. I've also competed at all three. I'm also a USATF certified coach and a Wharton certified musculoskeletal flexibility therapist. So just as an idea of my background. And I have coached athletes from beginner all the way up to the elite level as well. So I do speak from experience. That said, well, first of all, if this is your first time to the channel, welcome to the channel. If you're a coach or an athlete, you just want to learn a lot of good detail about training, hit that subscribe button right now. Hit the bell next to it so you don't miss what I'm going to be putting out. But you can also see 150 videos that I've already put out on training. It's probably the most extensive channel out there, or one of the most extensively detailed channels out there. So, take a look at the videos. If you do watch them in their entirety, because I do break things down from beginning to end, and I explain things in between the lines as well. So I don't want you to miss any important details. So what I want to talk about today is the aerobic threshold. Okay. Just to give you an idea of some kind of the details, essentially the aerobic threshold is AKA the AT run or the tempo run. It's a pace that you can run comfortably hard for about 30 to 60 minutes long. Okay. So it's a comfortably hard run, but it does a lot of things. Okay. And just to give you an idea, it's approximately marathon pace. Now, how do you know what marathon pace is? Let's say you run 5 minutes for the mile, okay? And if you ever want to look at a pacing chart or something, you can. There's an app called RunCalc, where you can go to the Daniels running formula and get a bunch of detailed. I also have videos down below that give you an idea of your training paces based on a 1 mile time trial. Take a look at that, a 1 mile time trial, and then the other one, how to set the right training paces. I've done all the details, and I've broken down the numbers for you. But essentially, a tempo run is about a minute to 20 to minute 30 seconds slower per mile than what you run for a mile. So let's say you run a 5-minute mile. The approximate equivalent, for you for marathon pace based on a 5-minute mile is about 6:25 to 6:30 per mile. So you would run that or build towards it. 30 to 60 seconds. I mean, 30 to 30 to 60 minutes, excuse me. It's a run that you can run for a continued period of time at a comfortably hard pace. And what it does is it calluses you. It prepares you for transitioning to more intense bouts of training as well. And again, these are also long-term building blocks. These are let's say you want to peak twice a year. So let's say cross country and outdoor or spring track. So this is something that you can do in the base phase in the summer and a base phase in the winter on a regular basis, like every week. And then you transition into other things or do them less frequently and incorporate other things during your competitive seasons. But it's an important building block to training. Okay. Now I want to move over here because I have my board up and just go over some, specific details with regards to the aerobic threshold. It's a little crooked there. Let's see. There we go. Like I said, I'm sitting down, by the way, because I don't want to decapitate myself. It's the fastest pace you can comfortably run for 30 to 60 minutes without going lactic, without going anaerobic, okay? Without entering the anaerobic zone, okay? That's important because that's a whole different system, a whole different method, and that's the last thing you want to do. If you start to go into that zone, it can become counterproductive and defeat the purpose. It also could put you at risk of getting injured as well. We don't want to do that. Okay, and that's based on again experience, but this is a good run and something very important for anybody, whether you're training for the half mile or the half marathon or the marathon or the mile. It doesn't matter. These are good runs to incorporate in a training program. Okay, like I said too, incorporating these during the base phase or development or conditioning phase, whatever you want to call it, it will significantly contribute to improving your fitness levels. Doing them every 7 to 14 days is ideal. In a base phase where you're going to go, 10, 12 weeks or something like that without racing, that's a top opportunity to do it every week, once a week, while plugging in the other runs as well, your easy and your steady runs and your long run and so on and so forth. Okay, and again, this is one of the key aspects of it. And this is kind of like a progression run too. It teaches you how to run fast without having to run hard. Okay, and that's something you develop over time as you get more experience, as you get more fit. If you can learn how to run fast without running hard, then you know you're getting fit. Okay, you know you're headed in the right direction. You know you're improving. When runs that were hard last cycle start to feel easy now, your 8-minute 30-second pace easy runs are now your 7:50 or your 8 minutes. They start to feel the same. You start to get an idea of how you're progressing. Okay, this is one of the things that it does. It teaches you how to run fast without overexerting yourself. Okay. Now, like I said before, it's important to identify the appropriate training paces. How do you know what the right training pace for an aerobic threshold run for you or your athletes are? That's why I mentioned a 1-mile time trial or even a 3K time or a 2-mile time trial. If you're training for longer stuff, it doesn't really matter. I like a 1-mile time trial if you're training for like anything up to 5K or even 10K. I like a 2-mile or a 3K time trial if you're going above that. But a 1-mile time trial is just as fine as well. Okay. Because it'll give you an idea what your capabilities are for 3K, 5K, and 800 meters and 400 meters. But it'll also give you an idea, if you're closer to one side than the other, it's an indication you need to enhance the one side. For instance, if you're closer to your 3K and 5K equivalent than you are the 4 and the 800 meters, then it's a sign to enhance your 400 and 800 meter training. Maybe more speed development, maybe more speed endurance. If you're, on the flip side, if you're closer to 400 and 800 equivalents than you are the 3K and 5K, it's an indication to start incorporating things like this, anaerobic threshold or tempos or threshold running or anaerobic threshold, which is going to be my next video after this. I'll show you the difference or talk about the difference between the aerobic threshold run and the anaerobic threshold run, okay? Because there are differences between the two, okay? So, again, identifying the appropriate training paces is very, very important, okay? And remaining there until you run a time trial or a race that indicates your fitness has progressed and you're ready to increase the intensity of your training, increase the pace of your training paces, okay? I always talk about this in my other videos. It's very important to avoid increasing volume and intensity at the same time. Okay, if you're going to increase volume, I'm of the opinion as well, it should be no more than about 10% increase per year. Okay, so if you're at 50 now and you run it for the whole year, the following year you're 55. Okay, and the year after that you're a little over 60. Okay, in some cases there are outliers where people can go from 50 to 70 and so on and so forth, but it's not the norm. Okay, it's important to give yourself a chance, to give your athletes a chance to get used to training, and when they plateau, when they stop improving, that's another sign to increase volume, modify the training, increase the intensity if a race indicates, but ideally if they're plateauing, they're not getting any faster. So it's a sign of potentially checking and see if they're recovering sufficiently, but potentially increasing volume of the training as well. But that's where training at the right training paces is so important, because it helps you make sure that the effort is where it needs to be. Because there's a difference between pace and effort as well, but if you're training at the right paces, and then the right effort is going to be there commensurate with your fitness, your current fitness, okay? If you're a 5-minute miler and you want to run 4:30 within the year, it's important to let yourself progress from that to that. And again, there are some folks who can jump from that to that, but it's not the norm, okay? You want to be training at the right training paces, and I talk about that in a lot of my videos. Very, very important, okay? And the last one, I kind of went over it a little bit, but exceeding the recommended paces can be counterproductive, okay? If your pace is 6:20 to 6:30 per mile, let's say, it's important to stay within that pace range for these runs. And you gradually build towards 30, towards 40, towards 50, towards 60, towards 60 minutes. That's a good quality run. And again, you can start transitioning to anaerobic, or you can start incorporating, shorter repeats, speed development, cruise intervals, threshold intervals, all different types of stuff. And they do complement each other. But again, it's important to let the body progress, let your athletes progress, okay? That's going to be how you kind of continually set yourself up for long-term success and short-term success. But doing the things like this, puts you and your athletes in a position to make good decisions, okay? And that's also important, okay? You have a better understanding of the training, where you stand, where they stand, and so on. So, hope you found something helpful from this. This is the meat and potatoes of aerobic threshold. The bottom line is a pace that you can comfortably run for 30 to 60 minutes, okay, which is approximately marathon pace, give or take a minute 15, a minute 20 to a minute 30, slower than what you can run for a mile. And if you look at pace charts, you look at the Daniels pace charts, you'll see how it kind of lines up, how accurate the paces are. Okay, but take a look at those two videos, the 1 mile time trial and how to set the right training paces, because I give you a lot of detail. You'll learn a lot about that. You'll get a better understanding of this too. Okay, and things will start to make sense in a lot of my other videos as well, because they all tie into each other. Okay, the idea is to help you run faster, help your athletes run faster. Okay, so with that, my next video I'm going to go over the anaerobic threshold, and I give you some workout examples as well. If you enjoyed this, please hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button before you leave if you haven't yet, and let me know in the comments down below that you subscribe, so I can personally thank you. I appreciate your support. You guys are important to the channel's growth. And if there's a video that I haven't put out yet that you want me to put out, also put that in the comments down below, and I will be more than happy to put out a video for you. I am working on a couple of 800-meter training videos or workouts for maybe sub 2:10 800, sub 2-minute 800. And I'll have some detailed videos with that as well. But my next video is going to be the anaerobic threshold, and then I'm going to go into a little bit more science stuff that'll give you a better understanding of why training is set up the way that it is in a lot of cases. So why is this workout here? Why is this workout there? And so on. Those are all important pieces. So with that, train smart, have a great season, and I will talk to you next time.